Welcome to the Dixie Doggers podcast. We're here to share knowledge and heritage. We hope y'all enjoy. Southern Cross. It's the best cut gear in the business. We run it on our dogs. Hit up Dave Williams at Southern Cross Cut Gear. Go to www.hogdoggear.com. If you're looking for Brahma and Brahma Cross cattle, Marc Rankin with the Rankin Ranch 38 Cattle Company, he specializes in them. He is the man for the job. He's based out of Oglethorpe County, Georgia, and you can contact him at 407-832-2077.
If you're buying or selling land, farms, or hunting property, these folks know land. Phil Wilson with UC Hunting Properties, 678-791-3483.
All right, everybody. Here we go again. Got another episode coming to you.
Yes,
we
indeed.
We are trying our best to make it through this one. I think everybody's had pneumonia. I think I've got coccidia and probably whipworms or hookworms right now. And like, I ain't got no worms in my butthole, but it's bad. Like, I mean,
I don't know what's wrong, but it itches.
Yeah, it's just bad. And my damn throat. And we got a guest on with us tonight, and he's contracted, I don't know what, might be syphilis or something.
Bad case of heartworms.
We got Mr. Roper Oswalt on with us tonight, Triple O Hogging. How you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good. How are y'all?
Man, we're alive, and that's about it. I've had this shit for a week or longer, and it's kicking my ass.
Right.
So we've been wanting to get you on here for a while now, and kind of pick your brain a little bit. And we know you've been around the dog world for a while, and your dad has. So for the listeners out there that don't know who you are or that are interested in who you are, whatever, just kind of introduce yourself, go over your history, your background, how you started, what all you do, talk as much as you can handle.
All right. Well, I'm Roper Oswalt, 27 years old. I'm from Deep East Texas, down here on the Texas-Louisiana line. Some of y'all don't know where Deep East Texas is, but yeah, I got some of these old, I don't know, some people call them mud flap dogs. It's just a bunch of mutts, really. I mean,
yeah,
kind of a cur hound cross mainly, some cur dogs. Gonna cross in some more crap, but anyway.
Seems to be whatever works, huh?
Well, I mean, kinda. I mean, other than a Catahoulas, I ain't gonna have one of them. But nothing against the people that's got them. But I mean, I've not seen a whole lot of good ones out there. I mean, they're out there somewhere, but I don't know. I just personally hadn't.
I've heard a few of them.
Well, and like I said, they're probably out there, but I mean, I've not had any good experience with being around any of them. But
I have to agree for the most part.
I mean, it's
few and far between.
Yeah.
Well, that's out there, in the woods, having to do the work, like what we're doing. I mean,
that's right.
There is the few and far between. I mean, oh shoot.
There's a couple of guys I know that they've got a few, and I mean, like they're really strong dogs. There's no doubt, but like I said, I don't know how many they went through to get those.
It's kind of like having a good walker dog that'll actually be a hog dog. From what I've experienced. I mean, you gotta go through a walker dog to several of them to find you one that's actually going to do the job for you as far as hogs go.
Yes.
I guess, I don't know, some people's got July. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Kind of have to pick your battles, I guess you could say.
Well, like you were saying a little while ago, everybody hunts different. Everybody's got different style of dogs. They all hunt in a different place.
Oh, that's exactly right.
And that just, so there's so much diversity going on there that, I mean, it's so hard to nail down one perfect dog for everything.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and that's kind of what I've tried doing on the cur hound cross stuff. I mean, cur dogs are good and all, but I mean, down here, hogs run, in my opinion, they run bad. I don't know. I mean, some people probably say they don't run bad at all, but to me, they run pretty bad. So we cross some hound into some of that stuff, try to get a little bit more bottom to them. And I mean, I don't know, it's worked for the past, I guess, 5-6 years. I mean, got to listen to barking, but shoot, I found a dog on the side of the road the other day. She's 100% silent. And I was like, man, I kind of don't like this. I mean, I kind of, I don't want to have to look down at that Garmin every few minutes to see where my dog's at. I mean, at least yap every now and then or something. But I don't know, it'd be all right. I mean, she put some pork out there in front of me the other day, so that's all good.
There you go. Did you run silent dogs before you started with the hound crosses?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was. Dad's had a line of cur dogs for, probably 30 years. And man, it's only been cur dogs. I mean, you didn't have, you weren't going to listen to a dog that barked on the track, because
that's right.
I mean, that's just going to pull other dogs over there that didn't need to be over there to begin with.
Amen.
And now he's went with other dogs, or other people, excuse me, that's had hounds, and you go dump that hound out at a spot and you drive away from him. You give him 2 hours, 3 hours sometimes. I mean, and then you may go back, and once he gets something jumped up, then you just pack the dogs into him. And I don't know, that's one thing that I really didn't ever want. I mean, I didn't want a pack of cur dogs to have to depend on, whatever hound I had at the time, just whatever. But I didn't want something like that. So I was like, well, we'll kind of cross them up and see what happens. Shoot, I guess it'd be it's my best dog that I've got. And he's a 6-year-old dog now. He was a deer dog. And I don't know if y'all have ever heard of ghosting, like a dog ghosting a deer. But that's what the old boy told me he was doing. I was like, man, it's something I've never heard of. I was like, what is that supposed to mean? He said, man, he starts running that track so hard that he quits barking, and he's just trying to catch that deer. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, that's kind of what I need. I mean, and he's out of this, like the cur dog blood of my dad's. So I was like, man, I need him. And that rocked on about a year. I finally got the dog, and after hunting 3 days out of the week, I could say that he was a semi-straight dog. I mean, every now and then you may pull him out of there and he just gets a wild hair and says, today's deer day. I mean, but anyway, I mean, it's one of them deals, you kind of got to pick your battle on that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
I mean,
that goes into that specific type of dog, and the application for it. If you're dealing with that type dog that's going to run like that, then you're going to deal. I ain't gonna say every time, but there's a lot of them you'll deal with some deer or maybe a coyote or fox or whatever.
That's right. And I mean, if a dog won't trash, he don't have enough game to him. I mean,
yeah.
And I, not necessarily, I guess hunt. He don't have enough hunt and drive to him. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, you can always straighten him out to what you want him to run.
Yes, sir.
And I feel like that sometimes that takes some of the hunt out of him. Well, I'm sure it does in a way.
Yes, sir.
But at the same time, if you can guide him to do what you want him to do, if you put him in good sign, theoretically, you would think that's what he's going to run.
Yes, sir.
Maybe not all. Maybe that might not be what everybody's does, but that's what I would think. And so what breed of hound are you talking when you're talking about making these crosses?
I've got 3 dogs that are going to be cur blue tick cross, and 2 of them are a half and half, so they'll be half cur, half hound. And I've got a 3/4 cur, quarter blue tick. That's just he's a young dog. It's not something that I put him in the woods Saturday, and he's I don't know, it may have been too much, because maybe too much cur dog there, because he had a halt to the ear whenever I showed up, and that's not really what I was shooting for whenever I done the breeding. But I mean, if he'll get where, I know the dog will bay. So I mean, if he'll get where he'll catch on the back leg instead of an ear, and then start baying like his dad does, and I'll be in good shape. I mean, I ain't worried about it. But other than that, I had a completely silent red tick or English dog, whatever you want to call it, and I bred that to a cur dog, and I've come out with a decent looking red black mouth, old flop ear dog. I mean, he does. He's pretty well silent. He may babble a little bit, and when it's real hot, I'm not gonna say bark. He'll let out like a yap, and it's what I like is whenever you know that he's looking at one, because I'm talking about it's a long ball that he's gonna let out, and then go to chopping like a cur dog. And man, I don't know. I've just got where I like listening to that long ball. I'm like, man, that's good stuff right there. I mean,
yeah, I hate to admit it, I'm the same way. I've always loved listening to a race. I've always loved listening to the hounds, but man, it's getting to where I really like it more and more. I've run silent dogs so long. Is these that open up a little, they ain't got to be wide open. Of course, I don't want them wide open, but if they'll bark some, like you said, it lets you know where they're at, and you can pack a dog to them.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and a lot of it is, I mean, if you're going to bark, you got to be running.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like Dad was telling me about some men that he's went with, and they had a couple of dogs. They dump one out over here and dump one out over there, and give them 3 hours. I'm like, man, that's too slow. I mean,
yeah,
and a lot of people say that a blue tick is slow, and I've had blue ticks because I've had coon dogs, and I've had slow ones and I've had fast ones, and I say fast, probably fast for their breed. I mean, they're not walker dog fast, but I mean, they'll still do the job. But anyway, I mean, something that you got to let have an hour to, get a track jumped up. I can't do that. I mean, that's too much. I mean, I ain't gonna sit around there and wait on one that long. I mean, and around here, there's enough hogs. I mean, you have the time or want to, or, however you want to hunt. I mean, shoot, just drive 100 yards. I mean, them suckers is under every bush you can think of.
There you go.
But I mean, finding them's not the problem. It's not a problem finding one around here.
Stopping them.
Your problem is stopping them. Yes, sir. And I talked to one of my buddies. He's got a blue tick, but he's got another dog that's he's gonna be quarter pit, quarter running walker, and half cur dog. And he talked about breeding that dog to that blue tick and putting a little bit of get a hope to it, but at the same time still having something that'll run. And I thought about doing it to a cur dog. And if you do it to a cur dog, I mean, most cur dogs already have a little bit of grit to them, and not all of them. I mean, I've got a cur dog at the house that he's not touching nothing. But I mean, you're just trying to come up with some stuff to have. I guess a dog that run to catch type dog is how everybody on, from what I hear. And I mean, I guess I've got that, but I mean, I've bred some more of the cur hound crosses thinking that they would take that from that cur dog, and they didn't do nothing like I thought they were going to do. I mean, it's just, I guess you'd have to keep the whole litter and kind of sort through them, and the ones that do it, keep them. The other ones, the ones that don't, I mean, do what you want with them. But I mean, that's just kind of how I look at it. I mean,
now, when you got a litter like that and you're getting them picking puppies or something like that, what do you look for in puppies? I know we have a lot of listeners. They like hearing the process and how other people do it. Like, what do you look for in a puppy? And kind of what's your process on starting a puppy?
I guess on picking a puppy, mine is complete opposite of my dad's. My dad is whichever puppy is, like when you walk up to the pen and you stand there for just like 10 minutes, they'll all, for the most part, all kind of start doing their own thing. Whichever dog goes and gets back in that doghouse and lays there, don't bark, don't whine, none of that crap, that's probably the one that he's going to pick. And I want one that's just kind of always not 100 miles an hour, because that's not for me. I don't like them. I mean, I call them psychopaths, because something ain't right in their brain whenever they're just nonstop running a chain or running a pin. That's just, I don't know. That ain't for me. But anyway, I'd probably go for more of a, kind of a loner. I mean, not necessarily. I'm not going to say the one that's in the box by itself, not barking, not doing nothing. But I mean, if there's a cricket to go chase, I'm probably going to be, pretty interested in that dog. I mean, may not be the one that I pick, but I'm going to be pushed to that dog a little bit more. I mean, that's just me. I mean, I don't really have I don't have a certain way of saying like, all right, this is what I'm keeping because it does this certain thing. I mean, I just know that I'm not keeping one that constantly barks and constantly runs. That's just not for me.
It's very trying, that's for sure. It's aggravating.
Right. And I mean, my dogs are probably 30 yards behind my house.
Yeah.
And when I say hush, I mean, it's, whatever you're barking at, I mean, it better learn what hush means too. Because, I mean, the old coyote out there, if he starts barking, well, I'm going to come out there. I mean, it's, I can't hardly listen to it. I mean, and then, like my dad, he's complete opposite. Like, hey, you just let them sit there and bark. Who cares? I mean, but whenever, if you got a dog that's in a truck, riding in the truck, or when you're hunting out of the truck, I mean, if that dog is always barking, because that's what it always does, and it don't know the word hush, whatever, I mean, I don't know. I mean, ain't no point beating that son when it's in the box for stuff that you should have taught it whenever it was a puppy.
Yeah.
I mean, and back to the training the puppy deal. I don't really have a certain way that I necessarily train a puppy. Kind of let them train themselves, I guess you could say. I mean,
gotcha.
I may get me a pig, and I think the earliest that I've started them was 10 weeks old on baying, and I may let them bay 3 times, 4 times, and I may take a pig and tie a string to it, and it may be a 10-foot piece of string, and put me a little stick at the other end of the string, and let that pig drag that string, and if the puppy will go, try to trail that little pig up, that's good. If we find the pig, if we have to find it together, that's fine. I mean, whatever we got to do. Yeah. And just to let the dog know, like, you're not going to fail. But, at the end of the day, you're going to, whatever happens, if I have to help you or, whatever, hold your hand kind of deal, basically. I mean, at the end of the day, we're still going to come out, not a complete loser, I guess you could say, at least for a little while. I mean, and then pretty much let them run the yard. I'll take them over there to my dad's and let them run, whatever. They can chase cows. They do whatever you want to. I don't care. I mean, just let them be a dog. I mean,
there you go.
Because if you have if you have a dog that is bred to work and hunt, I mean, they're going to do it themselves. I mean, at the end of the day, you just kind of got to put it out there for them, and they'll do the rest of it for the most part. Not always, for the most part. I mean,
yeah, I agree that consistency in the breeding and, of whatever line of dogs you're running, if they all hunt and do good, I feel like you said, those pups, they'll really do it themselves. You just got to give them the opportunity, set them up to win if you can the first couple of times for sure.
Yes, sir.
I think that's where that confidence comes from. Then they'll really roll.
That's right. And I don't take a dog I don't take a puppy, excuse me. I mean, I'm not going to hunt one in the woods with grown dogs, none of that stuff, till they're at least a year old. And I don't know. I mean, some people disagree. I mean, there's people out there that, this dog turned 6 months old If he's not finding me hogs, he's either going to somebody else or, he's going to be cold, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I don't agree with that myself, because there's a lot of growing up that a dog has to do from, 6 weeks to 6 months. I mean, that dog's got to mature fast if he's going to go out there and put hogs in front of you at 6 months old.
Oh,
And,
without a doubt.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's people that have them, and that's good. Like if that's how you want to do your dog, that's great. But and a cur dog, just from my experience, you start a cur dog that young, and yeah, you'll have a good year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old. They're going to be good. But when that dog should be in its prime at 4 and 5, he's pretty well washed up. I mean, just from my experience. I mean, I ain't been around dogs, for as long as some people, but I've honestly been in the woods since I was in diapers. I mean, Dad was carrying me hog hunting when I was still in diapers, and I wasn't in diapers whenever I was 12, if y'all were wondering. But
well, I mean, it is what it is. Even if you was, we wouldn't hold it. we got Rodney hangs out with us, and we hang out with him, so we're used to it.
Oh, I've heard the stories. Oh, yes, sir.
That son of a gun. Let me tell you, he makes it fun, and I think there's some people that, and I used to be one of those people. I got too serious with it. I got to the point for a while, man. If I didn't catch a hog, I mean, like right off the bat, them dogs didn't roll out and get busy and find me a hog right then. It was the end of the world. And man, it got to where it wasn't even fun. It just was so hectic. And honestly, after I started hunting with Rodney, or we started hunting together some, I kind of relaxed a lot more because we was always having a good time.
Oh, for sure.
Yes, sir.
Trying just having a good time, which back then I didn't really cast a lot of dogs. I stayed, like I said, I stayed mad at them. I had to put up numbers. And then it got to where I had cast dogs, but then it got to where that's what we were really trying to do. It was like, let's make some really good cast dogs. And, I want to work on this stuff. And man, it's been fun, if nothing else. Dogs ain't worth the shit, but we have fun.
Amen.
We'll be back after a quick break.
A quick thanks to supporters of the Dixie Doggers podcast: Southern Cross Cut Gear, UC Hunting Properties, Rankin Ranch 38 Cattle Company, Animal Housing Solutions, Boars N Broads, Ada Y Transport, Crockett Taxidermy and Processing.
Yeah, we all have them kind of dogs. So, I mean, it's one of them deals. Like there's a lot of people that road hunt. And honestly, I've never road hunted a dog until this past Saturday.
Really?
And we actually went and hunted that morning and we had a hog run from, shoot, it almost changed zip codes, honestly. But, I mean, it was in a straight line, 5 miles. I mean, so I don't know what the dogs ran. I mean, they went, I have no earthly idea. But I was like, man, I'm going to go to this other place and just, I just carried young dogs that day. So I was like, I'm just going to carry these dogs. And, if they put a hog out there in front of me, that's good. If not, hey, it's whatever. I mean, they've already done good enough this morning that I'm tickled with them. And now I pulled up to the place and 2 little pigs run across the road in front of me. And I was like, well, I don't really want to chase pigs, but, these dogs got to figure out, kind of how to do it on their own versus like that morning they went with a older cur dog that my dad has. And I just dumped all of them off, kind of started easing up the road. Well, they go out there and they find the pigs. So I thought it was just pigs. And man, I was just walking in there to them. I ain't thought nothing about it. Sure enough, it's about a 300-pound sow come out of there.
Oh,
yeah, she wasn't playing when she come out of there either. She meant business. And which, I mean, she got 10 foot from me, ran off. I was like, well, that's good. catch the pig, go on, whatever. And I was like, well, shoot, I'll just, let them road hunt. I mean, they don't know what they're doing. And I had a couple of them, they tried to just run off, just leave the country. And I ain't never done it. I was like, I don't really know how you road hunt. I mean, I don't know how to do this crap. Like, what are you supposed to do? Just drive a road? And sure enough, I toned them back to me, and I let them all kind of get ahead of me because, I ain't never done it before. So I was like, well, if they don't need to be behind me because I'm not going to know where they went.
That's right.
And I had a couple, they kind of peeled off, and I was like, well, going to run us a good deer. And I don't know. It's the dog that I picked up on the road. I was going to call her something, but I don't know. Somebody may know where she come from. I don't want to say all that. But, I mean, and it's, man, it could have been somebody's dog. I don't know. But I picked her up running the track, and I was like, well, if she'll run a track, maybe she'll go find me a hog. And sure enough, she started baying. She went from baying to 120 yards later, she had it caught. And I was like, man, this is good. She had it caught on the back leg. So I was like, that's whatever. But I was like, man, this road hunting thing's not that bad. Like, if this is what everybody does when they're road hunting, like, this is pretty easy. You just sneak up on them and then catch it. I mean,
that's how we did. I road hunted for up until just about 6, 7 years ago. That's all I did for the most part. I mean, we walk hunt some places, but even when we walk hunted, our dogs would cast. But like the road hunting part, I like to let my dogs get, far enough ahead of me, I can't hardly see them.
Mine won't do that.
Okay, whether it's where we're at, it's really thick. And so that might not be but 50 yards sometimes, or 100, 150 yards. Generally, it's going to be 200 yards or less, average of about 100. And then, like you said, they'll just peel off one side or the other. And I follow the dog. I don't follow the road or try to drive them. We kind of just follow wherever the dogs go if we can. And if they get off the road, we just let them run it. Let them hunt. Then they come back on. We crank up, move again. And we have caught a lot of hogs like that. A lot.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's just like going into places. I mean, that main, like my main dog, you may be riding down the road and he start barking, and we may pass that up, just most of the time we ain't worried about it. And we don't hunt cameras. Like, I'm not going to hunt a cell camera. If you do it, I'm proud of you, but that's cheating. That's just my opinion, but I'm not hunting corn piles. I'm not hunting, a camera. Sometimes we'll hunt scent, and used to we didn't, because you just had cur dogs, and some of them can smell, but there's a lot of them out there that can't smell nothing. It's got to be fresh. I'll put it that way.
Yeah,
it's got to be I don't know. I don't even know what the coldest nose cur dog could smell. I'm gonna say probably 4 or 5 hours. And some of them are hotter than that. I know that. Like in rougher dogs, well, I don't know. That's just my opinion. In rougher dogs, you have a hotter nose.
They tend to be hotter.
From what I've seen. I've got a cur dog that, he chops on track. And it's not because he was hunted with hounds and none of that kind of stuff. As a puppy, he is barked on track. Not yapped. He's barked.
Yeah.
And I got a buddy who's like, man, you pull out that old cold-nosed cur dog. And I don't know what the dog can smell. I honestly don't. But if he ever starts barking, he could be running a deer. But we may be running hogs too. It's one of them deals. If that deer's going to stop, I'll send my bulldog in there and we'll try to catch it. It's all free game. If they can catch up to it, stop it. Let's just go for it. At the end of it, somebody's going to be whooped down. I'll put it that way.
Well, if the dogs do the work, if the dogs are doing the work, you gotta try to get it done yourself.
Yes, sir. That's right.
I wish we had that type of population hogs.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I really do. Like we have little pockets of pigs, and like
Okay.
there might be 4,000 or 5,000 acres, and they might not be 50 pigs on the whole thing. And that'd be a lot of pigs. Honestly, that would be a lot. So, like, and we started running game cameras a couple of years ago, but I don't hunt off the game cameras. I really started to. I was like, well, man, this will be easy.
Right.
I was like, man, they come up here on the game camera. Hell, we just pull up there and catch one. And I just can't do it. I can't do it. I mean,
for puppies, that's good stuff.
For training puppies, it does work for the most part. I like to give them a couple of hours away from the camera to see how those puppies are taking a track. So that's a pretty good tool for that part. But but I know some boys like you're talking about. When that camera goes off, they throw them dogs in the truck and they go straight up there. And then they're going to take that Facebook picture, that Instagram picture. Look at this big old boar hog we caught, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah.
That's it.
It ain't the same. And I was like I said, I caught myself and I was just like, I can't do it. I'm like, shit, I don't know why. I just can't do it, though. I guess too much about the dogs. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. And then, I mean, I've kind of got away from, like, I don't post stuff on Snapchat anymore. I mean, I do, but, it's going to have to be like a pretty good hog, a caught or something. I mean, and now, there's people that post a little pig. They're going to post this, 60-pounder, 80-pounder. And I mean, I used to do it. I mean, 2 years ago I was doing it. And man, I was out there in the woods one day, had the picture on my phone, and I was going to put it on there. And I was like, man, I'm putting this on there like I done it. I mean, I ain't done nothing.
That's right.
I mean, I drove from 400 yards away and caught this hog. That's all I've done. I mean, these dogs are the ones that ran for, I think them dogs actually ran, I think that day it was like right at 3 hours on the same hog. And I was like, I mean, they put in the work and they're not even here to take a picture with. They done rolled out. I mean, they're on to another one. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, well, I guess I still post stuff every time, like I said, but, just posting stuff all the time, I'm just like,
It's not that important.
I'm not the one that's doing it. I mean, the dogs are out there doing it. I mean, and a lot of people don't look at it like that. I mean, a lot of people look at it like a combat. I mean, let's put it on Facebook. Let's let somebody say, oh man, you caught a good hog. Well, yeah, them dogs did catch a good hog. I mean, you had to go in there and lay hands on it, but them dogs are the one that done the work. And a lot of times they're not the ones getting the credit for it. I mean,
amen. That happens a lot. I see a lot of guys that post pictures of big hogs with no dogs in the picture.
Yes, sir. And there ain't nothing wrong.
There's nothing wrong with it. I was going to say, like you said, sometimes them dogs will be done rolled out of the country and they're gone, and it might be somebody's first hog they ever got, and they won't take it. And there ain't nothing at all wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it if you want to take a picture of every hog you get.
Right.
But you can't make it to be something that it's not.
That's exactly right.
Give your dogs credit where credit's due. Tell the story. Be like, old Jim Joe here, he strolled out good today. He went mile, got the track started, ran him for 4 or 5 hours, stopped him, baited the hog. We caught the hog. He rolled out, did it again. That's all you got to say,
That's it.
But and it happens.
What's the average speed for y'all's dogs to be running running track, like y'all may not do it, but
we do.
from reset, okay, from resetting it, from when they start a track or when they whatever, I'd say start a track. I mean,
it depends on which dogs we're running,
and it depends on the terrain.
Yeah, because like we got some of these real bad mountains. The dogs, if they can even get 2 double digits,
if they can get 10, they are
fucking. I mean, they are really pushing. All right, so in real steep terrain, I think the last one I done when Rick was running the other day, and they had somewhat of a track. It wasn't even a good track. He was running 8-9 miles an hour, and like I said, that's steep terrain. But he get on flat terrain. Shit, like he's been in the 20s,
Right.
He's foxhound. He's pretty fast dog. He can drift a track and move it fast. But then, like some of our cur dogs, they're going to stay, like I said, depending on where they're at. If they're in the thick stuff, 5-6 mile an hour is going to be about it.
Okay.
That's going to be all cutovers and mountainsides and stuff like that. But if they get out in something where they can run in open woods, like they can smoke it.
Yeah.
But they don't have the bottom. They're not going to smoke that track for 6 hours.
No.
No, I mean, they got a good hour in them.
Yeah. Well,
ours do.
That's what I say. We've run our cur dogs with running walkers and with, walker dog crosses, and and on a 7-hour race, I think the longest that the cur dog stayed in there was Sally, and she stayed in there for 4.5 hours, 5 hours. Midnight stayed for 4 hours. We can get 3.5, 4 hours out of them running hard in the heat. And that's only a few of them. Most of them, that's a couple hours, and that's it. They're out.
Right. Yeah, and and I don't know. I mean, I've got one dog, one cur dog that he could pretty well hang in there with the hound cross dogs, but when it gets hot, and when I say hot, I mean 100 degrees, and
that's right.
Humidity is just unbearable.
That's right.
I mean, them hound cross dogs are still going, and I walked into them one day, and nothing's barking but one dog, and when I get there, it's the hound cross. I mean, he's still standing there chopping just like an old cur dog, and there's cur dogs standing there. I mean, they're at the bay, but they're not baying no more. They're just standing there trying to catch their breath. I mean, and they ran about 4 hours. I mean, which was, in my opinion, was crazy impressive, because they usually don't do that.
That's really damn good.
I mean, it was bad that day, and it was really too hot to even be hunting. But his old boy wanted us to go hunting with him. So I was like, well, whatever. I mean, let's go. And I mean, we catch that hog, and everything's standing around but the old hound cross. He done rolled out. Going to another one. Yes, sir. About 400 yards, he was bait again. And my dad told me, he said, look, when we catch the hog, me and him will catch the hog.
Yeah,
you catch that dog. Like, okay. Because, I mean, it was, it done got on up there probably 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And so it was, it was definitely quitting time. I mean, it's too hot and hungry to be out there. So
I know we ran with Logan Campbell down there at the Mississippi-Louisiana line, and we did it mid-August or toward the end of August last year. And we got that hog jumped at like 9:30 or 10 that morning, and it was already in the upper 90s. And we caught our dog at dark. And I mean, like that, they ran, and that was the most impressed I've ever been by any animals. And
that's
I couldn't believe it. I was like, I said, these damn dogs are going to heat stroke and die. Shit.
Right.
Man, they act like, I mean, the cur dogs, they done been out of the race.
Right.
But the full hounds and the 3/4 hound crosses and half crosses, they were just strolling.
Y'all have some half and half cross dogs?
We got some 3/4. We got some 3/4 cur, quarter July. And we got those right now. They're young, so I don't really know what they're going to do, but they're out of really good stock.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to ask. What are they doing?
Yeah, they we'll know here in the next couple of days. We're going to start pushing them. I had to. We ain't hardly got anything on our tracking systems. All our collars. I had another collar go down on me day before yesterday. I had to order a whole new system today. I had Nate just order me a whole. I told him, I said, look, we've been talking about it. I say, order me. It's me and him.
Right.
We've been talking about trying that Doctor out. So we ordered one.
For sure.
That one in half a dozen collars and said, well, let's give her a go.
Yeah, I saw your, I don't know which one of y'all it was, but
yeah,
I saw on TikTok that the collars was, you was losing the collars and stuff.
And it's been on. When we go hunting, Roper, we take Rodney has an Astro 430 and a 100. Nathan has a 100, and I have a 300. I have a 300i.
Right.
We have anything from, we was running like DC 50s all the way to TT 25s. So basically, we got TT 15s, to 15 to 15X, and then TT 25s.
Yes, sir.
And they're all updated. All the handhelds are updated and calibrated all the time. And like we've changed antennas. I can hook a long range antenna up and get and pick up pretty good. But at the same time, it's like I don't want to have my handheld hooked to my truck because I'm not riding in my
100%.
truck all the time.
Yes, sir.
And there was a few people that were like, "Well, you got to be out of the truck for it to work." Listen, I'm not going to argue with anybody, but you do not have to be outside of your truck. You don't have to be outside of your truck for your handheld to work to pick up. I've done it ever since Garmin came out.
That's how deer doggers do it.
That's what you say. Like,
they don't get out of their truck to go track their dogs. I mean,
how's a drive track work then? You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
You say, or because you got to leave your handheld in the truck for the drive track to work.
Yes, sir.
But anyway, like I said, I ain't arguing with nobody on that. I just know it's not working for us, and it has. I'll have collars that'll work really good for a couple months or maybe a couple weeks. And then they'll start acting like shit. Then we'll throw them up on the shelf. A few weeks later, we might use them again and they work better. It's just not the consistency factor is not there for as much money as you got in it. And we hunt all the time.
Right.
And I'm not saying that other people don't hunt as much as we do. But like literally this time of year, I need that Garmin 5 days a week at least.
Yes, sir.
I mean, like I need that son of a bitch. I really need it 7 days a week just so I can mess with my pups, young dogs. But hell, we're gonna go in the morning. Mm-hmm. I've got to use my 320 and some DC 40s just to have enough collars, which they work fine.
Golly.
Yeah. It's a damn mess.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And listen, like I said, and there's a lot of people that gave some good sound advice and all that. And I appreciate everybody that interacted, but there's some folks that, they act like I don't know what I'm talking about. There's literally thousands of people that are having the same problem.
Yes, sir.
And don't know. It's mainly the 200 and the 300 handhelds.
Well, that's what I was going to get at because I got a 200i. And, man, I honestly wish that I'd have never left my 100.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the screen being a little bit bigger, but, I mean, if I have to squint, then that's what I'll do. I mean, and I'm not old enough that I need to be squinting yet. So I should have just kept what I had because, like, now I can zoom in or out on my map. And, man, it goes black and it's just like, well, give it a minute or two. I mean,
yep.
And you may get on the list of dogs and, I've got 7 collars that are mine. And then I've got, I think 6 or 7 that are my dad's, and I can scroll to the bottom too fast to look at his dogs and does the same thing. It just go black. And it's just like, all right, we'll just wait on it for a minute. I mean,
and you
I don't know what else to tell you. I mean,
well, that's the thing.
I ain't got nothing else out there. I mean, and the dogs are usually out of hearing whenever I'm looking at the Garmin because if they're in hearing, I mean, I'm not going to look at it. I mean, because it's kind of like having a rabbit dog. I mean, you just sit out there and I don't know. Some people don't do it, but I like to know what dog is barking. I know what dog is barking on a chain, in a pen, at a hog, whatever. I know all the different barks, so I just listen to it. I mean, I've got my dogs figured out, and I've got the whatever Dad's got 27 it seems like, but I've got all them figured out. I mean, yeah, he's got a few too many, but
ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm the same way myself, but no, man, it's one of those deals where there's like I was discussing it with one of the people on there, and they were talking about the difference in the dog trim. And a lot of people that have changed. I've only talked to 2 people that have swapped to dog trim that weren't happy. And,
Okay.
And a lot of that, I think. Well, one guy told me it's just preference. I said, I'm not worried about preference. I need performance. I can like you said, I can squint if I need to.
Right.
But Kyler, he hunts with us, and he heard us having all these issues, and he just started hunting not long ago. So he bought him a dog trim. And plus the price point was way better. Well, I put his collar on one of our dogs, and we had the Garmin collar on the dog. The dog trim never dropped that dog at all. And that Garmin dropped it all day long, in and out. But the dog trim did not one time.
See, and I've not really had the, losing communication with my dogs other than whenever my antenna was loose. And I mean, I know that's not y'all's problem because y'all got way too many handhelds for that to be the problem.
I think so. I've changed antennas. Like our bag's probably got 12 to 15, or I say 12, probably 10 to 12 regular antennas for handhelds in that bag right now, brand new.
Well, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean the antenna itself. I meant what the antenna is actually screwing onto.
Yeah, the SMA connector. Yeah,
and yes, sir. And shoot, I've had that happen a couple times. I'm just out there like, well, we'll find them whenever we find them. I mean, it's one of them deals,
Well, we were in
Oklahoma. What it is. We don't know what to do.
Yeah. See, we were in Oklahoma with Rusty Mayshore, and his collars were doing the same thing ours were. I mean, we're talking about flat, open range, and they were dropping at 400, 500 yards. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I hadn't had those problems yet. I mean, and whenever I do, I'll probably be swapping because, I think a little bit more of my dogs than just, and I'm not saying that y'all don't. I'm just saying, like, I think a little bit more of my dogs than losing him at 500. Yeah. I mean, and then him go 800 and be bayed for an hour, and then, this collar just decided that it's going to pick back up, and this dog's been bayed for an hour, and it's, just say 90 degrees with whatever. I mean,
it's some stupid
humidity. Right.
That's why I said, like, with as many handhelds as we run and as many collars, in order to swap all of it at one time, I mean, I'd have to take out a loan.
Right.
But I'm like, and I still don't know if that's going to be 100% what we want to do. So I was like, I can get half a dozen collars and the handheld, and let's see how it does. And if it works, then we can go from there. And like I said, if somebody wants to buy my Garmin stuff, I'll sell them what Garmin stuff I have. If they want it, they might not have any issues out of it. I don't know. It could be where we hunt. Like we hunt in we hunt right on top of coal mines.
Okay.
And the electromagnetic field is very, very, very touchy.
Right.
With like the Astro 220 and 320, you can sit there and the compass will just sit there and spin all day long. It'll spin. Huh. Yeah, your dogs will look like they're running in a damn circle.
Yeah, I've been to now I'm not going to be able to think where I went. But anyway, we were underneath a big power line. And I had DC 50s coming up 80 barks a minute on bulldogs when they weren't even on the dog's neck. Yep. And I was like, it popped up there 2 times, and I was like, how are these dogs barking 80 barks a minute on a DC 50? I was like, something screwed up here. Like, no, this ain't normal. And there was an older man that was there with us. He hunted the place, several years back, and he was like, man, walk about 100 yards out there. I said, well, what's that going to do? He said, this power line's got you screwed up. I said, there ain't no way that power line's affecting it like this. Yes, I said, I don't even know that a DC 50 has a bark meter or a bark detector on it. He was like, well, they do today.
Yeah.
He said, I witnessed that. He said, that's crazy. Like, I've never witnessed something like that in my life. But I don't know. I mean, it's just one of them deals, it's crazy stuff happens. I mean,
I just get frustrated with it because, like you said, I think more of my dogs than that. And it's also one of those deals where I'm not rich by no means. I don't have $3,000 or $4,000 just to buy a whole new setup because, like, the stuff that I've been running, of course, it's like most people, I've bought it over the years, and,
yeah, sir.
I might swap them in if I need to get a new one or something like that. But I think I've had 8 of the TT25s altogether.
I think so.
I think 8 of the TT25s, and the battery life is outstanding. I like the size of them. I like everything about them, except they just don't work where we're at. I guess
Well, and it's not just where you're at, because my cousin, he bought 2 of them. And, I was like, man, I'll let you be the test dummy. And he bought 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, man, these are some of the sorriest collars I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
So when you lose your dog when he's 100 yards away, you've got a problem.
And it takes forever to pick them back up.
Right. And he picked his dogs back up. I think I could be wrong, but I think it was like 45 minutes later.
Yep.
And when it picked the collar up, the dog was like right at 2 miles away. And, that's just stupid. I mean, it shouldn't have took 45 minutes. And which the dog was bayed over there. Don't know how long he was bayed because, he didn't have a collar on him. But he's done that now. Which I run TT15s, and he was like, man, I'll just keep my TT15s. He's like, man, I'm going to see if somebody wants these 25s because, to me, that's terrible. And
I think
he took them and got them.
Doing better for most people.
Yeah, I personally, which I've got 2 DC50s there was one guy that I just talked to not long ago. He didn't know that you could put those on a 100 or 200 or I don't know, maybe even a 300. But anyway, I explained to him how I done it. And he's like, man, I just gave like 50 of them collars away. And I don't really know if it was actually 50, but I was just like, man, what'd you give them away for? He's like, well, I bought a 200i. So, why didn't you try to get a hold of somebody, But he didn't know. And if I wouldn't have had a man tell me, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah, because you can take in, as long as you got a 320 or a 430. I think it's 430 works better.
Yeah. Yes, sir. That's what I had to do was the 430.
Yeah. See, Rodney, he's got a 430, and he, instead of running 2 handhelds, instead of running two collars for correction, to have a shot collar or whatever, he still runs the 15s. He uses his 430, but he has them linked. He has them hooked up in his Alpha as well. He runs 2 handhelds. He doesn't want a touch screen, but he has to have it so he can tone his dogs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understand.
I was like, dude, you're crazy. But
he sounds old school, kind of like Dad, which Dad still wants to be on the old big beat.
I do. Yeah, I listen. That's where I'm headed. I ain't gonna lie. I'm to that point where it's like I'm just gonna get me might just get me some old open mouth hounds. Just drop them off on Monday morning and come back Wednesday and pick them up.
Hey, if you get some that are doing that, let me know because I'm gonna have to take a trip, breed that to a cur dog.
Hey, we got 1 or 2 out here that is sure enough get it.
That's pretty impressive.
He does pretty good.
Right. Yeah, and I've kind of tossed around. There's an old boy that he's got a July dog, and I don't know. I would have to breed it to a rough cur dog because he said this dog would just walk and bay. He's not laying teeth on nothing.
Yeah, that's tough.
When other dogs get there, instead of him getting tighter, he gets looser. And I was like, man, that's cool and all. Like, if you like that, but what's the dog like? What's his purpose? He's like, man, he really runs the hog to, basically make it want to stop because he put just enough pressure. And I was like, man, if you ain't putting teeth on it, to me, you're not really stopping it. It's just, you're going to have a walk bay. And he had one just a few nights ago. And I was like, man, that's cool and all if that's what you like, but I mean, get something that's going to put some stop in there. It's just, which, like I told y'all at the very beginning of this conversation, everybody does it different. And I didn't say a whole lot to him. I was just kind of like, man, cross it up with a cur dog, with a rougher cur dog is what I told him. He's like, I'm not. And I was just like, hey, that's cool. Like, if you like your dog just walk baying, that's good and all, but
good deal. Yeah.
That, to me, I'm not going to have that.
I ain't either.
Well, I'm going to try not to have that. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to have it because I may have it one day, but I'm going to try not to have it. I'll put it that way.
If I've got it, I'm going to breed it to something to try to make it a little different,
Yes, sir.
Because like we got one now, and like he's going to start a track and he's going to run it, but he's still really green. And he really doesn't even know how to bait yet. I don't think that, and so on a big hog, I'm thinking he's probably going to walk him a little bit because he's not real rough at all. And like you said, like he's been at a couple bays, well, because he's the one that ran the hog, found the hog and ran it.
Right.
And he'll loosen up just like you're talking about. He loosens up but it's almost like he's kind of sneaking off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like and then when you turn around, he's gone.
He's one of them that just wants to run the track type deal, or
like I said, I don't know.
He's not, because I guess he's paying, but right.
I'm hoping that it's not, and I don't think that it will be. I think he's going to be tight enough once he gets a few hogs under his belt. I think he's only been on 3, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, he's still green.
He's real green then.
Yeah. But I put it this way, he had never seen a hog. I put him out. Let's see, I put him out when we was in Arkansas. How many times I put him out with Braxton? 3 different times?
Yes,
3 and we had 3 different bays.
Okay.
And
so, ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, and like, so like I said, he had never even seen a hog. He stopped the hog and they baited the hog. So I was like, well, he definitely is track minded.
Right.
And he can move a track pretty damn fast. So, I mean,
yes, sir.
Like I said, but at the same time, he's going to need all summer just where I can even see if I'm going to keep him.
Right.
I got to catch some hogs and see how he hunts first.
Right.
And he's pretty silent when he's out hunting. He's not babbling or doing none of that. When he strikes, he'll open up and then he'll bump every now and then. And I like that, it's not too bad.
Right. Yeah, that's better than just, well, my dad's got one. It's just, he's a black and tan. I mean, every 3 steps, you just got this long, drawn out ball. And he'll run. Don't get me wrong. Like, the dog can run a track. To be a full hound, you're only talking 100 yards, 150 at the farthest behind cur dogs. So he can run a track, but if it's, trying to get it first started, it's just, man, it's like, all right, time's ticking. Step it up, dude. Like,
that's right.
Yeah. Don't nobody want to listen to all that. And I listened to it. I've listened to it for 5 years, I think. I guess the dog's got 5. I don't know. But anyway, and it, like, that's good and all. Like, he's got lots of tracks started for us. And it's just one of them deals. I've kind of went back to, I don't want to only depend on that dog because my cur dogs can't do it. And that's why I've crossed into the hound stuff and, kind of put a little bit, I don't know, the 50-50 cross is good. I do like it. And some people think that that's the only thing I would run would be a hound or a half hound. And that's definitely not it. If the cur dog's not in there, I'm probably not going to be keeping it. The longest I've kept a hound was the red tick that I had because she was silent. And I kept her for 2 years, maybe. And I was just, she was good enough that I wanted to litter her puppies out of her. I'll put it that way. I kept her long enough to know I wanted some puppies out of her. And I got my puppies and I was like, all right, time for you to roll on to somebody else.
Yep, that's right. Because you can always
you've done your duty with me. Yes, sir.
So doing all this stuff right here, working with the dogs and being around the dogs as long as you have. I think you and Nate were talking about some stuff about like helping dog pass poison and
Yes, sir.
and curing dog with heartworms.
Yes, sir.
And you got to, if you want to tell our listeners some of that stuff, and maybe you can give them some good tips and maybe help them with some issues.
Yes, sir. I had a white bulldog that, I don't know, I got him. He was 4 or 5 years old, just eat up with heartworms. And I was like, no big deal. I'll hunt him, or I'll, let him catch for a year, maybe 2. And then heartworms, they'll take him on, because I'm not taking a dog to the vet. Nothing against the vet. Like, if you're married to a vet out there, I mean, that's, that's good. But I mean, it's just one of them deals. Like, I'm not going to go spend the money on a dog that's probably not going to make it past, another 2 years anyway. I mean, he's got a rough life. And I talked to an older man that's right here around where I live, and he said, go home or go to the store, get you some ivermectin. Call me when you get home. So I was just like, all right, what's this man about to tell me? Just dose him down with it. But anyway, he told me 1/10 of a cc for 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
And if y'all don't know, or not y'all, but if some of the people out there don't know what 1/10 of a cc is, that's the first line on any syringe nearly. I mean, especially on like a 3 or a 5, and he told me, because I didn't know it at the time, but cc's and millimeters, it don't matter. It's the same thing. Yeah. So, at the time I didn't know that, because I was like, well, he told me cc's. And I was like, well, I don't have that. I've only got one that's millimeter. He said, well, I mean, do you know anything? Because it's the same thing. So, okay, well, I appreciate that. I was like, well, let's just get on to the good stuff. So anyway, it was 1/10 of a cc for 10 days. You let the dog rest for 2 weeks. So you don't give him no wormer. Like not even safeguard for 2 weeks. Don't give the dog no kind of wormer. And you worm him after the 2 weeks. So on your 15th day, basically, you start back with the 1/10 of a cc for 10 more days. And I've done it. And, I didn't really expect my dog to, because he's kind of drawed up, just eat up with heartworms.
Yeah.
And shoot, after about a month, 3 weeks to a month, during worming him on all that, I mean, this joker went to gaining weight. And I was like, all right, I don't know, the wormer's doing something, it's I guess it's helping. And I could always tell after he coughed, that he had heartworms, because that's when he coughed at his absolute worst. He always coughed, but that's when it was the worst. And, I had to let the dog sit. That's one thing I didn't say, and I should have. If you do have a dog that has heartworms and you do this, don't hunt the dog in any of that period of time. Don't try not to get them worked up. I had to put him at the back of my chains, and because I didn't want all the other dogs running past him and him, run from one side of the chain to the other, and getting all wound up. And because it can, well, from what I was told, it can make the worms die faster, is what I was told. I honestly don't know if it would happen or not, because I didn't really want to test it out. But I left him after I got done with the second round of the 1/10 of a cc. I'd left him for another 2 weeks. So he stayed there at the house. Anytime I went hunting, it's just, sorry about your luck, buddy. But I guess after the next, I think it was about 2 more weeks that I let him sit. So about a month, actually, after I got done worming him, I took him, and the hog broke right before he got there, and he ran right at 2 miles to the bay. Had the hog caught when I got there, and he never coughed. He never bobbled, acted like he's just perfectly fine. And I was like, okay, the 1/10 of a cc deal, it works. Now, if you've got a dog that has heartworms, you don't want to give them ivermectin. Ivermectin, Ivermax, not ivermectin plus, because we're not trying to cure no liver flukes in a dog. But that's another big thing. It's got to be ivermectin or Ivermax, one of the two. And you don't want to. That's just for what I was told. Now, if somebody else tries it, that's on y'all. But I mean, I just done the Ivermax, and it worked on my dog. It may not work on every dog, but this man done this for. He told me it took him 17 years. He said 17 years and 8 months, actually, is what he told me.
Damn.
To get that down. And this is a man that he does something, you kill a dog and you learn from it.
That's right.
And he wasn't killing the dogs on purpose. I mean, it was just something that,
oh, yeah,
he gave them too much.
That's
and,
right.
It's just, it accidentally happened. I mean,
I've got one out here that we've and done that same thing, but it was kind of on accident that I found out that it was even working.
Okay.
I was, and we were giving him ivermectin, and I knew he had heartworms. The same thing.
Right.
He's one of my older dogs, and man, he just got drawed up, and I'd had him for so long. I was like, man, I guess he'll just, like you said, sorry about your luck, buddy. I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna take care of him, though, And
yeah, as long as he's there. I mean,
that's right. And hell, it got to where hell after, I don't know, because I was doing it every month. And then sometimes I do it every couple of weeks. And like I said, I wasn't even doing it on a schedule like that. I wasn't even doing it like that. I was like, well, I'm just going to keep worming him, just see how it works. Just try to keep him alive as long as I can. Well, shit, within a year, Haley broke out of his kennel and went back there and caught one of my hogs.
Yes, sir.
And you're talking about a dog that couldn't even physically load up in the truck.
Right.
And now he's going hunting this week.
Right.
Like that. So it.
Yeah. And like this dog he's going to be a 10 or 11-year-old dog. And,
yeah,
he's gotten him, where he can't keep weight put on him. And in the summer, he's better. But like,
they always kind of raw boned.
Yes, sir. Last winter, he got pretty rough looking. So I didn't hunt him much. And towards the end of the year, it was a little cold snap come through. I was like, man, I really, I need to take him. And because I really thought like, this is going to be one of his last, hoorahs here. And, I just got to take him. So I took him. Well, the hog was across the creek. And it's like when that cold water hit him, it's just like pulled everything out of his body, basically.
Yeah.
So I just left him on the chain. I was like, well, I don't really want to see you die.
That's right.
And I don't have the heart to put him down. I mean, so I was just like, feeling, man, I'm gonna leave you at the house.
Yeah.
And man, I had a guy the other day. He was like, man, I need a bulldog bad. I was like, well, I got one for you. I mean,
there you go.
And I give him to that guy, and man, he told me, he's like, it's one thing about old Yeo, and this is a solid white dog named Yeo, and I never knew why his name was Yeo. Well, oh boy, he texted me about 30 minutes after we swapped the dog over, this, that, and other. He said, man, you ever looked up Yeo? I said, no, like, I'm not worried about it. I mean, I don't know what it means. Like, that's just his name, and some kind of slang word for cocaine. And I was like, man, that's pretty cool. Like, I mean, if I'd have known that, I mean, yeah, that adds a little bit more to the name, because people be like, man, where'd that come from? I have no idea. I mean, that's just what his name was when I got him. So that's just what we left it as. And it kind of fits. I mean, I don't know if y'all been around many white catch dogs, but
yeah,
I've had 3 of them, and it's all kind of like their own cocaine. I mean, it's just nothing really affects them.
Yeah.
I mean, but
we've been around a couple of them, and I was always one of those. I never really cared for any kind of white bulldogs, but I've had a couple that were solid white, and they were really, really good catch dogs.
Yes, sir.
Really good dogs.
Yeah, that's what old boy told me. I don't really know what kind of catch dogs he's always had, but his last one was red, He's like, man, I really thought these red dogs was the way to go. She was a red nose. He's like, man, I really thought these red noses was the way to go. He said, but I need another one of these white ones. He said, this dude is a catching fool. I was like, well, yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to give you a dog that was going to get you hurt. I mean,
that's right.
Some people might, but
yeah, there's folks out there that will.
That's just going to make you look bad at the end of the day. I mean,
it catches up to you. It'll catch you
yes,
up.
Sir. Yes, sir.
It'll come back and bite him right on the ass.
That's right.
Now, you said you had something to help a dog pass poison?
Yes, sir. I had a dog eat rat poison. My dad's got chicken houses down here.
Yeah.
Dude, I had a dog. He went in there and I don't know. I guess he thought it was just a treat or something. But anyway, he got in that rat poison, and I've always heard about, you can bleach them. If you catch them fast enough, you can bleach them. And, I tried bleaching this, that, and other. Well, it didn't work. Well, I had a dog. I didn't know that she got into it, but she got into it at the same time. But she didn't really show the side effects that he did. Well, I called that man, and he told me to get, it's where your bacon grease is still white. You don't want to keep it completely solid, but you can throw it in the microwave for just a few seconds and get a little bit of a liquid to it, but still have it kind of white looking. And you put all that down that dog you can get. If he'll eat, 2 pounds of it, unless you don't know how much he's really getting, but I'm just saying. I mean, if you let him eat all he will, and most of them won't eat. But man, I done it to this dog, and he told me it lines the inside of their stomach, where like rat poison is going to stick to the inside of their stomach, and slowly kill them because they're going to bleed internally.
That makes sense.
I had this dog crapping straight green. I mean, I would have never guessed that it would have worked. Because, at the time I was just like, well, this dog, I'm going to write her off just like I did that other one. I mean, is what it is. But I done it, and it did work. I mean, and he told me that, like, if a dog, if it was to eat a rat that had poison, or I know like flies, like fly bait, if your dog was to get in fly bait, you could do the same thing. And, I just kind of thought like, well, and that's good stuff. Like, more people need to know about this probably. I mean, because like the bleach, I mean, if you don't catch that, I probably caught it 2 hours after it happened, and it was too late. Like the dog, he threw up foam, which was normal, but I was expecting green. He never done none of that. And then the Jip, I didn't bleach her because I was like, well, she didn't get it. So I just went ahead, and she started showing kind of like she was sick. I was like, well, she might have got in some. So, shoot, I've done the bacon grease like I was told. And, I mean, I'd have never guessed that it worked, but it worked pretty good for me. I mean,
hell yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to tell nobody to go out there and give their dog any poison just to see if it works, but
if it does,
happens,
I mean, if you're not going to be able to take them to a vet, and we always make sure we tell everybody that, we're the same way. We don't go to vet unless we have to. And
yes.
It's nothing against the veterinarian. It's none of that. It's like, that's just, I don't know. That's just how a lot of dog guys are. But anyway,
yes,
so, using that right there, if you can, because most people have some bacon grease or something, I think they would anyway. At least anybody in the South should have bacon. If you don't have any bacon grease, then are you even from the South? You know what I mean?
That's right.
If you ain't got none in an old coffee can up there, I don't really trust you much.
Yeah, and I've never kept any around. Whenever he told me about it, I was like, man, I ain't got no bacon grease. Like,
Grandma always kept some out of,
Yes, sir.
And,
yes, sir.
Which, I mean, people nowadays, like, we don't keep bacon grease either, but I mean,
right.
Like, that's how we were raised.
Right. Yeah, and I actually ended up cooking some bacon.
Just to have the grease.
I stuck my grease outside, and whenever it started turning white, because it was cold outside, and it kind of started turning white, I was like, oh, yeah, time to go shove it down her throat. And, I mean, I was like, man, I don't know what else to do. I mean, I get to eat some bacon out of the deal, and my dog is, probably still going to die, but I mean, whatever. I'll get the bacon grease. And it worked. So I was like, hey, I mean, I told my wife, I was like, we're going to keep some bacon in the freezer. I mean, if something like this happens again, I've always got bacon that I can go to. And
That's right.
If I got to set the grease in the fridge right after I cook it, like whatever, or in the freezer, whatever, I don't care. I mean, if it'll save a dog, because there's people out there that, dogs are going to go where they're not supposed to. I mean, it's just one of them deals. And there's people that, some may pull a collar, some may kill them, some poison them. I mean, I've heard a little bit of everything.
Mhm.
And, if the dog did happen to get poisoned, I mean, that you could go back home, shove some bacon grease down it, possibly be okay.
Yeah, that's like I said, that's a good thing to know.
For sure.
Which, I mean, I've heard that before. I've seen my dad do it with beagles, but like I haven't heard anybody else even really talk about it. I'm sure there's other older guys out there that's probably been around it before. And,
yes, sir.
And that's something that you kind of we don't even pass on, because you don't think about it until it happens.
Right.
And I've never had it happen. Well, I take that back. I have had my dogs get in rat poison, but we caught them while they were eating it. I remember now. Some little jags I had, and I took and gave them a syringe full of peroxide.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I took that peroxide, opened their mouth, squirt it down there, and it'll make them throw up automatically.
Yes, sir.
And so it's kind of like bleaching them in a way, but you got to do it quick, and you got to be right on top of it.
Yes,
so
sir.
It's something good to learn there. So
yeah, and another thing about bleach is, I keep bleach down at my dogs, because I've had I believe she was 3 years old, and I mean, this is a grown dog. Just one day went to acting like she felt bad, so I called that same man, went to asking him, what I needed to do. He said, you got some bleach? I said, yes, sir. He said, and she was a big dog, so I gave her a half a cc, but I gave her a half a cc. I think it was like, probably like 5 o'clock that afternoon. And he just told me to do it between the first two, do it every 5 hours. But he did say that the dog had parvo. And I gave her a half cc of bleach at 5, went back out there at 10, gave her another half a cc. And he told me, if she's alive in the morning, give her another half a cc. And I was like, okay. So, I'm expecting my dog to be dead, because, he's like, if she's alive. So anyway, go back out there the next morning, and I was like, well, this dog's perfectly fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with this dog. So I called him, tell him about it. He was like, no, you go ahead and give her the last round. He said, because I've done that thinking the dog was good, and the dog ended up dying on me. Just dehydrated within like 30 minutes and just died. I was like, okay. So I've also done that, and I keep bleach down there at my dogs, which, I mean, bleach is not really good for a dog, but I mean, if it'll keep the dog alive for me, like, yeah, I'm going to shove some bleach down his throat. I mean, it's like I know some people bleach their water and stuff, and I'm not bleaching my water. I mean, I'm putting, I can't even think what it's called, vinegar. I put vinegar in my water.
Oh, do you?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I haven't done the vinegar in probably 25 years. We used to do it with the bulldogs all the time.
Yeah, it's it'll actually lower your pH levels. I could be wrong on this. I could be saying it backwards. But bleach raises your pH levels, where vinegar lowers your pH levels in your water. And I don't know. I mean, after I heard about that, I had a man tell me that, because I used to put bleach, because I have mosquitoes terrible at my place. I mean, there's a creek not far from my house, so it's like, I just automatically have them. And I just dump a little bit in there. And, you still got to change their water every couple of days. But if I can keep from having to go down there every day and change their water, I mean, I'm like, well, I'll do it every 2 days, Yeah. I mean, but in the summer, I mean, it's something that's got to be changed extremely regular. I mean, because it's rough there at my place. But
Oh my goodness! About done lost my diggum voice all the way now. Oh shit! It's about to kill me. But no, that if taking and doing bleach or vinegar, whichever way, there's for some folks out there that have been doing the bleach, if it works for you, that no problem, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to do. Like you said, especially if you got, like, we live same way. We live in the bottom, like we're in a valley, and there's a little creek right by our house. Same way, man. There's mosquitoes. We just deal with them.
Are you using distilled vinegar or apple cider vinegar?
No, sir. It's going to be, my wife is all about like organic stuff, and that's not for me, but I mean, she likes organic stuff. So she's using some kind of organic distilled vinegar. Don't get me to line on exactly what it is. I mean, I just kind of go with the flow type deal. I mean,
sounds good.
I've had a couple people tell me about the apple cider vinegar, and
seems like that would help for worming and everything.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it's general probiotics and stuff. We typically use it during the summer.
Yeah, I was going to say we've used it.
Just typically on
and it helps with fleas too. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of blew my mind because I done it a couple times and I noticed that I had less fleas because it's sandy at my place. So I usually get fleas pretty bad, but now that I'm talking about fleas, man, there was somebody, and I'm talking a long time ago on one of these podcasts, that they was asking about Conserve SC. They were asking, have y'all ever used it and this, that, and another. And at the time, y'all hadn't. And that is something that, now it's expensive. And it's real expensive for a bottle. But, man, it works. I mean, it's real good stuff. It's all like out of plants. Man, don't get me to line. I mean, I'd have to look back at the bottle, but I think it's like $250 or $300 for a bottle. But
yeah, it's expensive.
I could go, yes, sir. Yeah, I could go give my dogs that right now, and the fleas, like if my dog is just infested, you give him 2 days, he won't have a flea one on him. I mean, it's crazy how good it works.
Yeah,
but
we had good luck with the Simparica Trio as well. It seemed to kill fleas and ticks real good. Even my Catahoula M&M, he's a house dog, and he was still keeping fleas on him. And I gave him that Simparica, and like you said, it was like a couple days, and had done that. Just they was all good.
I think we'll probably do that with all our dogs.
Yes, sir. Simparica. Yeah, I like how you threw in there that dog's a Catahoula, and I was bad-mouthing Catahoulas earlier.
That's the only one we've ever had that's been worth the shit.
I didn't say he was worth the fuck.
Okay.
I just said what he is.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Like, literally, which I've got two.
That dog is a brat.
I've had probably 15 or 20, and all of them moved on. Most of them went somewhere. They went to heaven.
He's an odd dog.
He really is. He's quirky, but
a lot of them are though. A lot of them are quirky.
I think if he wasn't a pet as well, he would probably have a lot more hunt to him, and he's got a lot of hunt to him. Like, he's found a lot of hogs already.
Right.
And I've got.
I think those Catahoulas have bulldog bred into them past their great-great-grandparents. They all have real big blocky heads, and they just look more bulldog-like. And we've crossbred a lot of bulldog Catahoulas, and that's what they fucking look like. So
yeah,
right.
They hunt hard.
But now all these are bay pen stock, and they bay real good. So they've probably got that bulldog just down to more of just like the phenotype and just more of the drive. Because a lot of those Catahoulas, they have good drive. Because I think
like Ginger and Chaos, they you're not going to find any other dog.
Yeah, I just want
that'll bay that hard.
I think Matador. I think he's I think his stuff goes back to a lot of like the ape and gorilla blood as well.
I don't know.
I think I'm not sure.
I think he got it from somebody else.
He might have.
I think he got all that from somebody else, honestly. But that's why they look like, the way they got the loose skin and all that. But anyway, they're the only ones that we've had that's been that we would feed. like I said, we've got some out here, and it might make whoever mad or whatever on it, but them some bitches ain't full-blooded Catahoulas. I promise you
Right.
that. I promise you that. Like, and a lot of those bay pen dogs, they're not full-blooded Catahoulas either. I can guarantee you
I
that.
see. Right.
You know, so there's some of them that's got some hound in them. Some of them's got a little Airedale in them. A lot of blackmouth cur and Catahoula crosses. Now that cross right there does pretty good.
Okay. Yeah.
But we like the Kimmer dog, the Kimmer stock and the mountain cur stock. I like those for cur dogs. Crossed to the blackmouth cur or the Catahoula, they seem to turn out pretty good. And then we're crossing them back to one of these half and half hound crosses or back to a full hound even. We don't know. We'll know when they get there.
Okay. The little dog that I found the other day, or, she kind of, I don't know, however you want to call that, but I picked her up. I found the old boy that he said that he owned her, and he told me that she was a Kimmer. I've only been around blackmouth, so I was like, well, okay. I mean, I don't really know what a Kimmer's supposed to be like. I was just like, all right, whatever. I mean, so I'm thinking run rabbits, run deer, just whatever type deal. And the other day, whenever she put that hog out there in front of me, or two of them, I was like, oh, this might be going to some Kimmer stock. Like, yeah. I don't really know much about these dogs, but right now I'm kind of impressed.
Well, Louis, he will run anything. Like,
they're notorious meat dogs.
You just put them out, like, for real. We're gonna catch something. Like, I got some pups that ain't seen nothing, and you take them out, and when you put them down on the ground, they're going to start cold trailing like a hound. Oh, Fred, that son of a bitch, you think he's a hound dog.
And a lot of them are also tree-minded. Most of them are. Especially because a lot of them, like where we're at, they're not really bred for pigs. They're mainly bred for, like, coon and squirrel dogs. But
they try to push them toward that.
Yeah.
All Kimmers are bred for hogs.
Oh, yes. I'm just talking about what the people are breeding them for. They're not.
I was going to say, they're pushing them toward that, yeah.
Now, Robert Kimmer's son, notorious hog hunter, and like he even wrote a book about it. Is like
exactly
because I think Robert's son, from what I understand, he liked them a little rougher as well.
Yeah, well, you're going to catch hogs with rough dogs, but you're also going to lose dogs, and you're going to work on them.
Yes, sir.
And you got to be in a hurry. You got to be in a hurry all the time.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've never wanted. And well. When I say a rough dog, I'm thinking you run in there, you get a hold, and you don't let go until, whatever happens.
That's exactly right.
That's what I think with the rough dog.
Yes, now, I don't mean a dog that's nipping and grabbing him on the hop to make him stop. That's just a bay dog to me.
Right.
That's my own personal thing, though.
Yes, sir. And some of them, I mean, some people may be mad because I know I've made people mad in the past because I'll be like, man, that, they'll talk about that dog being rough, and you send it into a bay and it breaks the bay. Well, that dog's not rough.
No.
I mean, that there's nothing about that dog that's, in my opinion, there's nothing about that dog that is 100% rough. And Dad's always told me, if you're going to have a rough dog, that dog better be just there. I'm talking.
He's a catch dog.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Just
that's it.
Dog.
When you turn him loose, he needs to be able to go, 8 or 10 miles if that's what he has to do.
That's exactly right.
Run with the other dogs, but when it stops or he stops it, it's caught. And it's not nothing's going to make that dog, back up and start barking. That's what he's always told me. You either have a loose dog or you have a rough dog. And if you're going to have rough dogs, well, we're not hunting together. Yeah. It's just like, okay.
Well, you got to have more than one. And I think that's where a lot of people mess up. They won't have. I know a lot of people that wanted to have one running catch dog. And I'm like, man, that's just my personal deal. I'm not saying that's wrong, but it's never worked good for me. I need 2 or 3 of them. And I might have strike dogs on the ground that are more of a looser bay dog, And if that hog breaks 2 or 3 times, I'm going to throw them rough dogs on the ground to get him stopped. But I'm going to try
Yes,
to be
sir.
there as fast as I possibly can, so that way my loose dogs don't get hurt.
Right.
Because it'll cause a damn mess.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and that's one thing that, like, there's some boys around here that, you know, you may send one bulldog. We always send 2 because we're not getting a lot of help from our bay dogs. I mean,
there you go.
You know, they're bay dogs, and they're supposed to bark. I mean, you know, and I'm trying to put a little bit more grit into them, and I mean, I'm calling it grit. I mean, I've got one that, you know, he's there for a ham or a nutsack, one of the two. Like, that's his thing. I mean, and that's good. Like, if you're gonna go stop them, pay them, I'm cool with it. But, and there's people that, you know, you send one catch dog and they want to brag about how good their catch dog is. Well,
but they got 6
your bay dogs are
dogs
probably doing.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I mean, your bay dogs are probably doing a whole lot more than what you give them credit for. I mean, you know, that catch dog may not be what you think it is.
Without a doubt.
Saturday, I'd have been in a bind if I'd have just had my little catch dog, because he's caught 4. Saturday was his 5th one that he caught. And if them bay dogs wouldn't have latched on with him, or they were really caught before him, but I was like, well, he needs the ear time. So, you know, I'm sending him. But if they wouldn't have been there, he's, you know, 35 pounds. And that sow was probably 200 that I caught. I mean, there ain't no way. I mean,
that's right.
One dog can't handle stuff like that. I mean, that's like me going to fight a 500-pound man that's a professional athlete. Like, it don't have. I mean,
that's right. And there's dogs that they'll get lucky and they can, you know, under the right circumstances, they can catch stuff that's way, way, way out of the ordinary.
Oh, yes, sir.
But
I'm not saying
no, but like, so, and that's what I'm getting at too. They shouldn't. I don't think you should. I don't think you should send a 35-pound dog in there to catch a 300-pound hog by itself all the time.
Right.
It don't make any sense,
yes.
Especially if you've got another dog or 2. I mean,
right.
Unless he's getting help from the other dogs.
Right. Yeah, it's just that, to me, the math ain't mathing whenever you go 30 pounds to 300. I mean, it's, you know, one of them gets, you know, he's out there climbing up. I'm talking no telling what kind of creek banks and stuff every day. And the other one, you know, is probably sitting at the house 6 days out of the week.
That's right.
I mean, you know, there's a whole lot of difference in that. I mean,
and then you get
in the weight and in the just the power in them. I mean, it's
and the delivery.
You don't have. That's right.
The delivery of that dog, like where we're at, I might have to send him. And on your garment it says 100 yards, but that's straight across. He might have to go down 300 or 400 yards down the bottom of the valley and up, and get to him. And if all I've got is loose dogs that don't help him,
right?
And we got a little dog out there named Mean Gene, and he is much of a man to be 40 pounds. But at the same time, about 90% of the time, he's got 2 or 3 cur dogs grabbing with him.
Right.
If it's just him, and we're going to send, you know, if we don't have any rougher dogs there or dogs that'll grab a hold,
yes,
then I'm going to have a running catch dog to throw on the ground with him. I'm going to send 2 catch dogs.
Right.
Every time. Ain't no sense in just letting him get shit wrecked because of whatever. I mean,
yes,
it doesn't make sense to me. Now, there's some guys I know that can drive right up to the bay almost every time, or walk up to it and get within 15, 20 yards of it, turn them loose, and they're on top of it. And that, hey, a 35, 40-pound dog, you can catch a lot of shit like that.
Yes, sir.
But
and that's what we do.
Yeah.
I mean,
but you're still using 2 dogs, so you're making it easier on your dog.
Yes, sir, it is. Yes, sir, that's right. That's right.
And I bet you don't have a lot of broken, like, I bet the dogs don't miss, and you don't have a lot of shit get broken run.
Used to, I didn't. Now that I've got this young dog, and that's the only thing that I'm carrying, I mean, I'm going to have a whole lot more. But that's why I'm wanting to put more of a, a little bit grittier style bay dog, so I don't have to have quite as many catch dogs at my house. Because at one time I had 6.
Yeah.
I mean, and at one time was 3 months ago. I mean, and it's just, you let one get off the chain.
Yep.
I mean,
it can be a bad
things
day.
can go south fast. I mean,
and they're gonna get your best strike dog.
Oh, every time, yes, sir. Yeah, it's one of them deals. I mean, it's just a matter of time. I mean,
yep.
And I've talked about I've got a pen. I mean, I don't really like kennels. I mean, a lot of people, they like them. That's good. I mean, I'm not mad at nobody. Like, there's a lot of people that's like, man, you got your dogs on chains. Yeah, I do. I mean, and I have them on chains for a reason. One, because I don't have to go down there and wash and smell all that. And, if I had, endless amounts of money where I could make it where I had all these jets that could push it, down to this creek that's, 400 yards away and all this kind of bull crap, that's good. But my dogs are just right behind my house. And yeah, I keep their chain spot clean, but I like to call my dog off their food every day. And maybe not every day, at least 3 days out of the week. And that's kind of how I don't handle puppies a bunch. They're just kind of put them in that pen, let them just kind of grow up, kind of get the puppy out of them.
Yeah.
And getting that handle on them is putting them in the woods. But I start on the chain, and that's calling them off their dog food. And you don't go eat dog food until I say go eat. It's just one of them deals. Like, that's just something that I do. And I've found out that it's helped me a bunch, because I've had dogs go places that they were not supposed to be. I've had dogs go up underneath people's porches whenever I was toning them. And, it's like, all right, you can't tone this dog anymore, because he went and found a house and, he's done. But he knows, whatever his name is, come. And that dog's, he's like, hey, I hear this all the time. I got to go over there to him. Versus, I hunt with some people that just, I don't know, you'll be out there hooping and hollering. And I have to call my dogs like that too. But they don't have just the greatest handle on them ever. But, you got to have that able to call you from wherever it may be.
Yes.
I had a young dog that I carried Saturday, and he was across the creek. I was like, man, I'm not going over to get you. It's just not happening. I'm not getting wet today. I wasn't hunting where I had to get wet. I wasn't getting wet. And I just went to Colin, calling his name, telling him to come. And about the fourth time, he bailed off in the creek. And I was like, shoot, that kind of crap pays off.
Yeah, you
versus
can't beat that.
Me swim over there to him. And for his first time in the woods, actually I'm saying in the woods, like actually out there hunting, we're going for hogs. Like I was pretty impressed with it. I was like, that's good stuff. But there's a lot of people that, you're going to walk that creek till you find a tree, or you're going to have to just strip down and go swimming and just be cold when you come back across. It's just,
when they're puppies, that's usually what I do. I'll try to get them to come across. And if they don't, then I'll walk them down to a tree, but that's as far as I'm going. But that's only when they're little puppies.
Right.
And this year I had one, and that little rascal did not want to get wet. So when he finally did come to me, I pet him up, loved on him, did all that. Then I walked back across the creek. And man, he didn't want to follow me at first. Finally, he came to me, and it just took a little time. After the third or fourth time, hell, he went right across it, no problem. I think,
yes, sir.
Just the patience and the repetition of doing it, that's what it takes. And there's a lot of people that don't. They think if it don't do it the first or even the second time, they're like, well, he ain't going to do it, so I'll just go get him. No.
That's it.
Don't do that.
Yeah, that's it.
Because, like, one of the best things that I've seen, it was last year, and we were hunting. and Rodney's got a dog named Sally, and she swam the river at one of the widest points, and she was bayed. And I was like, it's going to take 2.5 hours to drive to her.
Right.
Like, I mean, legitimately, there's no roads. We had to go out and go down to another county, drive around the whole end of the county. There's only one place to cross. We had to cross the river there and then drive all the way back up. Yeah. And so Rodney, he was like, well, I don't know if I can call her or not. I said, well, we'll give it a try.
Right.
And he hollered 3 or 4 times. And she, the first 2 times, she didn't pay no damn attention. And I told him, I said, tone her. I said, do not shock her at all. I said, just see if you can get her attention. And when he toned her, she was still baying, but she quit barking for a couple of seconds. I said, holler right now. Boy, he let out a couple of whoops. Hell, she come out there, hit that river, swam that son of a bitch right back. I said, buddy, that's impressive.
Right.
I mean,
no doubt.
calling her from the bay, cross the river back to it. I said, either that or she's just a shitty dog. And I'll take it either way because I didn't have to swim in that cold-ass wind.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
But she's also 10 years old, so it was like,
okay.
It's pretty tough. It's tough to call your dog off a bay.
No doubt.
Most people don't want to do that regardless, because you're like, well, the dogs done got it bayed. But like here, we do that quite often. We'll let them bay and then we'll just let them bay the hog because we can't tie.
Right.
We can't tie the hog.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And if we put hands, if we put our hands on it, we got to kill it.
Yes, sir.
So if we don't touch it, I ain't got to kill it.
Right.
So we just tell them, come on, let's go.
No, that's right.
And some of them, some of them will listen, but most of them don't.
Big good attempts. To try to get
but we try. So, but
I mean,
that's good.
You have, the way y'all got it, having to do like that. I mean, y'all don't have many bar hogs, so I mean,
no.
You are just constantly repopulating like that. So I mean, it's really not a problem. I mean, well, in my eyes, I mean, there's a lot of people that I go hunting on their places and they're like, if you cut anything, if you let anything go, just or let them go back, just because, we're not going to let you come hunt now.
Well, see, that's now.
This is something that has to.
That's right.
You can leave alive, but don't bring it back around here.
See, when we do that though, that's only on our personal properties. Like if we're hunting for somebody, we kill everything. Regardless, it don't matter. If we got property that we're taking care of for somebody or somebody lets us hunt it, we go knock them in the head.
Yes, sir.
And that's why, like on our personal property, we've only got I think 2 places that we can really do that.
Yeah.
And
I see.
And we just really started doing that some. We still wind up killing the hog later, but it's more along the lines of, okay, we made this hog. I know what's there. If somebody wants to come in and hunt with us, we'll put them on a good trophy hog.
Right. So, yeah. And it make you feel good about yourself whenever you can call your dog off. Cause I've only got one dog that I can do it with, but I mean, I slipped in there one day and called one of my dogs out, or the only dog that'll do it, but I called him out. I mean, this is a 250-pound boar hog, and I was tired. I didn't really feel like going in there and getting it. I mean, I was being lazy on my part, but I was like, I'm going to see if I can call him out. I had to crawl in there to the dog.
Yeah.
And crawled in there to him, and I was probably, 10 yards behind him. Well, I just went to calling him, and I was like, he'll never quit. And it was one of them deals, and I toned him. And when I toned him, he quit barking like you're talking about that dog did. And shoot, he turned. I mean, I kept calling. I kept telling him caught hog because that's what we say. We catch a hog, it's caught hog. And caught hog means, you get away from my
leave
feet.
this one alone. That's right.
You don't keep standing around here because, there's enough sticks out there in the woods. I can make you get away from that one.
That's right.
I mean, some people don't do that. And
I know. Man, it's tough.
Just the standing there chewing for 5 minutes, like, I'm not into that.
No.
When I lay hands on it, me or my dad or whoever I'm with. If I say caught hog, I mean, I don't want my dog standing there chewing. I mean, I say caught hog for a reason. And that's, you may go stand at that bush out there where I can't see you.
Hey, yeah,
but
there you go.
You won't be right there around my feet.
That's
I'll
right.
put it that way.
That's right.
We
try to do the same thing, man. You want them to move on. And we've had people, they're like, man, how do y'all get y'all's dogs to relay? I was like, we don't teach them to relay. They said, well, how do they do it? I was like, we just teach them to leave this damn hog alone. And generally they just go on and go find another one.
That's it.
Yes, sir. I guess that's how they learn it. but it ain't from like, come on, buddy, let's go find another pig. It's like, leave this one alone. I'm gonna whoop your ass.
Right. Yeah. And like young dogs, you may snap that dog and walk him, 15, 20 yards.
Yeah.
And, just kind of let him know, like, hey, we're not going to just stand back there and chew and lick and all that nonsense. We're done with that one. He's caught. We're going on somewhere else. And I've only had it where I've had to lead one dog off about 3 times, maybe 4.
That ain't bad at all.
I mean, most of them are just like, well, there's no grown dogs around here, and you lead them in the direction that the grown dog went, and most of the time they'll leave. I mean, not every time, but
that's right.
Regardless, we're still not going to stand there and chew. I mean,
no,
that's just, I don't know. That's a pet peeve of mine. I mean,
I'm the same way.
If I'm going to take the hog out, I mean, I don't need it tenderized. That's just, I don't know. But like I said, everybody does it different, so it's all good. I mean,
that's right. Well, man, that's we think a lot alike on a lot of that shit right there. It sounds like we'll have to get together and come down there and hunt a little bit or something. Come up this way and hunt.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Shoot. Are y'all going to Uncle Earl's?
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna go.
Well, we're like, I mean, I don't know if y'all have time. I mean, we can figure out a way to get a hunt together. I mean, we're like 2 hours, maybe 3 hours from Uncle Earl's. So
we could figure that out pretty easy.
Yeah. I mean, and I think I'm gonna go. Which I talked to Ryan, and
yeah,
they don't have the woods class, but they got something else he told me. I don't remember. So I thought about going and just putting dogs in that.
Yeah.
That's it. Yes, sir. Because we went to the Downsville Bay and I put my dogs in the, what was it? It wasn't the novice. That's what I put them in.
Yeah.
And, for the hog to just be standing there, just not doing anything, I was like, can we at least like get that thing to move around a little bit? Like, I'm not big on the bait pen thing because, I'm not really going to get into that. But anyway.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, anyway, so I was like, man, this hog is just like standing there doing nothing. Like, let's run around a little bit, do something.
Yeah.
But, it's just one of them deals. I was like, man, I feel like my dog could do better than what he's doing. But in his opinion, or in his eyes, I know that dog was confused because that's a caught hog.
Yeah, because he's wondering why in the hell am I barking at? It's already in the pen.
Oh, he's never been in a bait pen before. Yeah. I'm talking in his life.
Yeah, he's probably all kind of confused.
And there's music playing, just
oh yeah.
I mean, anything you can think of. I mean, dogs barking all over the place. And this dude's probably like, why am I here? Out of all things, like, and he kept he's winding the opposite direction. I was like, no, son, it's just right here in front of us.
Yeah.
Like, this is easy.
We done been through that shit so many times.
Oh yeah, and he went in there and he done pretty good. I mean, which I don't know. They may have lied to me, but I mean they told me that he done good, and I was like, all right.
Well, if he went in there and baited at all, he did good.
He did bait, so
he didn't climb out.
Yes, no, he didn't climb out.
Well, I've seen some damn good bait dogs. They just would not even go in the pen. They was like, piss on this, and they're some of the best woods dogs I've seen.
Golly.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
all the people freaked them out. All the noise, the music,
Right.
everything, it
Right.
just freaked them out.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and I mean, I could see it happening pretty easy because, I mean, shoot, you're walking up there and to that dog, I mean, he's walking into like a dungeon over there at Downsville. I mean, it's just, I mean, you're down in a hole, first off. I mean, yeah, that's a whole
world for him.
Deal there. I mean, I don't know. I was going to possibly bring some younger dogs over there to Earl's and, you know, just something that I think will pay. And they bring the old road find. I mean, she may do it for me.
There you go. We'll bring them
nobody
home.
ever hear barking, but still.
Hell, bring them with you. We're gonna bring a bunch of young dogs and a bunch of junk that ain't worth the shit, but we're gonna have fun. That's gonna be the main thing that we're doing. We're gonna have a good time.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and that's all. You know, it is fun. I mean, it's cool to go up there and, you know, see what your dog is. Because, I mean, like I say, I've got one dog at my house that I can say has been bayed, and I mean, he's been back here at one of these old chicken houses of my dad's. I've, you know, put up some panels and made a little quote unquote bay pen, and, you know, I was just like, you know, I'm going to bay these dogs. I had 3 of them, and I bayed them pretty regular, trying to get them confident enough where they had just a little bit of grit to them, you know, more than, I guess, let them know kind of you can get close enough, but, you know, they're still boundary type deals. And I don't know, some people may not do that kind of stuff. I mean, I've never done it up until these 3 dogs, and shoot, it may have been too much because, I mean, old yellow dog, he went in there and he had him an earful or a mouthful of ears.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, it's one of the deals. I mean, you're not going to know unless you try it. And, I mean, I probably wasted a year's worth of dog food on him because he's probably going to get killed. But, I mean, now I'll know, like, hey, you know, we're not going to go this route. I mean, we're going to keep them out of a bay pen and just let them know, like, hey, there's trees out here that you're going to get whooped up against. You know, you can't be – this dog would be like 6 inches, 8 inches from their face, just talking, hammering down. Whenever he started doing that, I was like, yeah, you're done. I mean, you've done got – I was thinking that I was trying to get the dogs where they were, you know, confident enough where when I put them in the woods, they wouldn't stand back, you know, 20, 30 feet and just booger bark. Yeah. I mean, I wanted them to know what a hawk was.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I mean, and I do realize that I've probably made it too tight for the woods, but I mean, a dog's got to be smart enough to know what he can and can't do. I mean, and that's another reason that I keep dogs on chains, because when they tangle themselves up, you got to be smart enough to untangle yourself to come get dog food or water.
That's right.
I mean, you know, and I've got rid of lots of dogs that would have probably made really good dogs, but, you know, when you walk down there for a week and this dog still don't know how to untangle itself, you got to untangle him every day. Like, this dog don't have a whole lot of sense. I mean, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know. Some people might be like,
you're correct. Oh, you're correct. I got one right now. I swear. That some bitch is about to drive me crazy. But like the past couple of days, I took her food bowl and I set it down there where it goes, and she kept dicking around there, and she finally I went back, her food's gone, and she was untangled. I was like, well, I guess she figured it out, you know. But I made a mistake, and I untangled her like 3 days in a row. And I said, what am I doing? You know, I had to catch, I was in a hurry trying to get done. And I was like, no, hell no, I'm not doing this shit. No, she had to do that on her own. So
I see. Yeah. And I always make mine. I don't just go up there and unwrap them and call it good, you know. And I do realize, like, when I've got a younger dog that's tangling itself up, I kind of got to prepare myself, because I'm like, I'm going to end up getting pissed off and, you know, either stomping this dog down because it won't go around the tree like I want it to.
That's right.
Or I can untangle it and be like, screw you, walk away.
You must have been watching me about 2 hours ago.
No.
I swear to God, because I was out there, I was just foot on the neck. I was like, "You son of a bitch, you got to learn." Oh, I have one little male dog acting crazy.
Golly.
Oh,
Yeah, that's, and I tell all my dogs, people may think that I'm stupid for, I tell them get around, and with my bulldogs, it works real good because, I mean, I'm not going to have one that's pulling on me or nothing, but when I'm going out through the woods, well, you go on the wrong side of the tree and I say, get around.
yes.
Well, that dog already knows, hey, we got to go to the other side of the tree. We can't go over here. So, and I do it to all of my dogs. I mean, I'm not just going to do it to a bulldog. I do it to bay dogs too. But you have to figure out when your chain gets longer. And, I say get around. And whenever you're going the wrong way where your chain's getting tighter, I say, and that dog, it's the dog that I found a week and a half ago. I honestly figured like, I'm screwed. I'm going to get pissed off at this dog. I'm going to end up just being like, hey, you want her, old boy? Hey, she's yours. But I kind of prepare myself and don't do like you did because hey, I've done it. I mean, I'm telling you. I mean, I kind of, I kind of got to tell myself like, hey, be level-headed when you go down and jack with this dog that's probably never been on a chain before and don't know, when its chain gets longer or shorter. And, after about 4 days of, I help them go around, and shoot, after the 4th day, I was like, all right, you're on your own. Well, she didn't eat the 5th day. I was like, well, sorry about your luck, I'm not untangling you. I put more dog food down there and I stood there and she'd go around the tree and, I was telling her, she done good. Well, she'd go the other way. No way, you screwed up, And I'm telling you, the 6th day, she was like, I guess the hunger hit her enough. She was like, hey, this is what we're supposed to do. She went around that tree 4 times. She walked over and went to eat her dog food. And Dad always tells me, you got to talk to the dog like you're stupid. You got to just act retarded with them. Just talk to them like they're a baby and stuff like that. Get them excited about stuff. And, like training them, stuff like that. That's what I went to doing with her. Well, the next day I was like, here we go again. Walked down there. She's standing at the end of her chain at her bowl. And I was like, oh, yeah. I'm like, this dog's got some brains to her. Like, we're going to be all right. And shoot, I kind of got where I'm just going to be like, you know what? If you don't eat one day, you don't eat. Come back tomorrow. And now I had to listen to barking at the dog food all night. But, it's one of them deals. I told myself whenever I went inside, I was like, look, I know I'm going to have to listen to her bark, but it's fine. She's going to figure out I have to go around this tree. And when I come back from work, she wasn't barking. I asked my wife if she was barking all day. She's like, no, it's a little bit in the morning, but that was about it. Like, good. So she kind of, I guess she accepted, like, I'm not getting over there. And after that, we've been good. So.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yes, sir.
But having that mindset, like you're talking about, having that mindset of saying, hey, I'm going to have to deal with all this shit. And not letting it drive you crazy. That's perfect. And knowing when to say when and knowing when to say go.
Right.
And when to do it. Because like there's some days like I'm talking about being sick, not feeling well. Today was one of those days where it was like, and I literally caught myself. I was like, I'm not really in the mood to even be playing with puppies or doing none of that. And
100%.
so I cannot fault this dog for what's wrong with me.
Right.
So best thing I could figure is I was like, you know what? I just leave it alone today, feed the dog, move on. And then tomorrow when I'm in a better state of mind, that's when I'll address it and we'll work on it. Cause I don't want to make a big boo-boo on it and mess it up,
Right. Yeah. And 3 years ago, I wouldn't have done that. And the reason I know it was 3 years ago is I had a little boy 3 years ago and I've learned lots of patience from then to now. And I've kind of started putting that towards not just with him, just with dogs too. And I kind of feel like the dogs are. I'm not going to say better. Like they actually do like respond better when you have a little bit more patience with them. Because man, I'm telling you, used to I had every dog. I just walk up to them just to give them dog food. And they're squinting.
Yep.
I mean, just here we go again. I didn't go around the tree fast enough, or whatever the case may be. And
That's right.
because like there's days I'm just like I don't have the time to be down here fooling with you. Like I'm supposed to be going somewhere or whatever, and it's snatch them around that tree. They'll want to lay on their back because they're just, oh my God, he's trying to kill me or
They're
whatever.
being submissive to you, and
That's it. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And they make it look like it's 10 times worse than what you're even doing. You're like, dude, I ain't even doing it. All I did was grab the chain. You're over here pissing and flopping around.
Yeah, that's right.
So for a lot of the listeners out there, I hope that maybe that will help you a little bit, especially a bunch of younger guys, younger hunters. It ain't the end of the world, and you're not doing everything wrong, but you can do things better.
100%.
The patience part of it. It'll help.
Yeah,
it really does.
Yeah, and a lot of stuff, I mean, it may sound stupid, but I mean, there's been times I've been like, boy, this is your day just because you didn't, whatever. You spilled your water when I just filled it up 5 minutes ago, whatever. And I'm like, boy. And I've had a few of them that I've just be like, well, I'll just, I'll walk away from them, calm down, and go back down. And, I used not to do that. Some people ain't going to walk away from their dog after something like that happens. And I used not to walk away from them. I mean, I may walk away from them, but it's not because he's still in that spot.
That's right.
I mean, it's just.
And we've all been
I let
there.
it get to my head
most
for
of us have.
a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Sir?
I think most of us have been in that situation. You make a hasty decision.
That's right.
Like I said, you have a bad day. And I'm not saying like, oh, you're just coming home and taking everything out on your dogs.
Right.
Well, I mean, I'm one of those kind of guys that if it had been another grown man there at the time, it wouldn't have mattered either. It'd have been whoever, like you said, whoever's a lucky duck right then.
That's it.
And
yes, sir.
Sometimes it's better just like you said, walk off, take a minute. Same thing, even with your kids, family. It's you can relate that to everything.
Yes, sir.
Patience is a great virtue to have. Step out, count to 10 if that's what you need to do. I was always told that every man needs to have a workshop or a shed or a building.
That's it.
That's like if you and your wife, you ain't having a good day or something like that, well, carry your ass outside and go to work. Be a man.
Yeah.
Be a man.
Yeah.
Don't lay in the house and argue and fight with them. Hell, go do something productive. And then when you come back,
that's right.
It's all right, man. Just move on.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I know a couple guys. I mean, one of them, he's a pretty good buddy of mine. He used to talk about all, his wife, this, that, and the other. And, I told him one day, I was just kidding. I was like, man, if you're really pissed off, you just go out there and start working on that old pine tree out there.
Yeah.
And he called me back one day. He was like, man, he said, pine tree got me. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, man, I'm talking about I was pissed. He said, I was pissed off whenever I was at work. Got home, old lady pissed me off. He said, so I just went out there to the old pine tree. I was like, dude, I didn't mean that. Like, you got to take everything so serious.
Well,
like,
at least, but
at
least you went to the pine tree.
That's it. And he was like, man, I punched that tree a few times. I kind of understand. Like, maybe take a breath before you just start doing that. He said, so now it's kind of like, just take a deep breath. He said, that sounds stupid, but I ain't going back out there to punch that tree.
That's right. Some of us have to actually learn by doing it.
Yes, sir.
And I'm one of them. I got to ram my head into it a few times, and then I'll be like, "Oh shit, yeah, this still hurts. I got to quit."
Right. Yes, sir.
But man, I tell you what, Roper, it's been damn good talking with you, man, and all that good stuff. My voice is about. I'm doing all I can do to keep talking.
Yes, sir. And I ain't gonna lie to you. I've made it a lot farther than what I thought.
Yeah, I know. When we was first talking, I was like, man, if we can get 45 minutes to an hour, and hell, I think we've got a couple of hours already, close to it.
Yes,
about close to 2 hours, man. So it's been good. I think we got a lot of stuff out there, and if I don't know how you deal with the general public or whatever, but like there's a lot of guests that we have on. There'll be people that want to contact them and just talk and all that. So, I mean,
That's good.
If somebody wants to holler at you, they can just contact you on social media or something.
Yes, sir. We have a Facebook page, Triple O Hogging, and
all right.
I mean, I've got it, whatever on my phone where I don't have Facebook myself. So, I mean, don't be looking for me on there, but
yeah.
I've got it Triple O Hogging, and then got Triple O Hogging on TikTok. And then I've got my personal TikTok, Roper Oswalt. So, yeah. I mean, if somebody has a question about something, I mean, I'm not going to be the kind of person, there's people all the time that they'll ask me something, and I want somebody to answer me back whenever I ask them a question. And if they don't, it's one of them deals. I'm like, it's good, but I would like to have an answer back. So I look at it the same way. If somebody asks me a question, I'm going to try to answer them back. I mean,
there you go.
So
that's good, man.
And I mean, I may not be, 10 minutes after the conversation or after they message me. I mean, I may be an hour or two later, but I'll still say something back to you eventually.
That's cool.
But,
well, like I said, man,
we try to put it that way.
Yeah. And I mean, you can't do but so much. I mean, it ain't but a certain amount of time in the day.
That's it.
Like I said, man, we appreciate you hopping on here, talking with us. And, like I said, maybe we can, maybe Nate can get with you and y'all can line up something because I know we're coming to Earl's and I think we're going to hunt. We got a place in Louisiana that we're supposed to hunt. Maybe we can slide over there and hang out with you guys and make a hunt.
Shoot, yeah.
If nothing else, and then hell, y'all come on to Earl's and we'll hang out there.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I've been telling myself I was going to go back because I went one year and, I didn't expect a whole lot out of it, but there's a man and his little boy there. We used to have videos on YouTube and, before all that went south. And anyway, and this man, I mean, I'm not the kind of guy to like, I'm not the one that wants to be out there, in front of a big crowd. He was like, oh my God, Triple O. Like, oh man, I was like, dude, just stop. Like,
it gets embarrassing sometimes.
He was just, he was like, man, I'm just glad that, y'all post hog hunting content and me and my son could watch it. He said, because there's a lot of stuff out there that's rough.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, sir. And I talked to his little boy for a minute, or we did. And, that to him, like the man didn't even say a whole lot after that. He was just like, man, I appreciate y'all talking to me. He said, there's a lot of men out here that they're not going to talk to you. They'll just be like, what's up, buddy, and walk on. And,
they'll pat him on the head and move on.
That's it. And he was like, man, I feel like y'all need to keep doing what y'all are doing. I feel like y'all can make a difference. And I was like, well, I don't see a whole lot of difference being made because I don't want to be out here. I didn't want him to be doing what he done then. Like, I dang sure don't want a whole lot of people.
Well, that's the hardest part. But, and listen, I'm going to tell you, here's the hardest part that we had to learn ourselves. And I had to tell me and Carter, Ryan, Rusty, all of us, hell, Logan Campbell, Pat Lewing, all these guys like that were like, man, we don't really want to do this. We don't want to be treated like that. But at the same time,
don't really want the spotlight.
That's right. But at the same time, now we put ourselves out there in the public. So it's kind of one of those by proxy deals. It's like, well, that ain't really what I was looking for, but it's kind of what it is. And so therefore, that same thing like with this podcast, we never thought that it was going to be the way it is now. That's never what we intended. It was to answer questions. It wasn't to interview people and to get to know hundreds of people that do the same thing that we do, and to get to go and travel and go hunt with other folks and get to learn this stuff. And we're recognized when we go to places where there's big crowds and all that. It's like, it's not what we were looking for, but it is what it is. So we got to put on I don't want to say like put on. We
Not
gotta,
a poker face. I understand. Yes, sir.
we
I know
have
what
to
you
be
mean.
ourselves, but we also have to hold ourselves accountable for what we say and what we do.
Yes, sir.
You can't just be just like blah, 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 you know, whatever, because that's how I was for a long time. I just say, well, fuck all y'all, I don't care. Well, that's
Right.
not true, because if I didn't care, I wouldn't even be doing it.
Yes, sir.
And so, guys like yourself, I look up to you guys. You know, I've watched your videos, and it's so hard to even upload a video that's not going to get taken down.
That's right.
And so it's like getting kicked in the nuts every time you put one up, a good video, and you're like, man, we're getting a little traction, blah, blah, blah. Well, then it gets taken down. You know, there's guys that deal with it every day. So my hat's off to you. Y'all just keep strolling, keep making dogs. That's the best thing. Put the dogs in the woods.
Yeah, we're trying to do that. I mean, it's, you know, family's always, I mean, it comes first, but I mean, you know, I go when I can. I mean, shooting, it's not like it used to be. I mean, I was religious about 3 and 4 days out of the week. I mean, it was, you know, if them dogs wasn't hunting, you know, why do I have them? You know, that's just how I looked at it.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like, hey, you know, if my little boy wants to go with me, hey, I'm tickled to death. If we only go out there for 20 minutes and he says he wants to go home, like, well, we'll leave them dogs out there. You know, we'll go back to the house, and, you know, I'll throw the long range on, and you know, if I can, and
that's right,
we'll track them. That's all good. You know, we ain't worried about them. I mean,
that's all you can
shoot,
do.
I've left them overnight several times. Just, you know,
that's the joy of having them good bay dogs.
Well, it is. I mean, they wasn't necessarily bayed the next morning when I got there, but they wasn't far from where I left them.
Yeah.
I mean, I just done that. Shoot, a couple of weeks ago, I had one that I was like, you know what? I've been out here for 12 hours already. I mean, you're down there in the bottom that I'm not going in at dark. So I'm just going to have to leave you in there for the night. And when
you seen what
come
we
back
had in that hog trap, didn't you? You run in one of them bottoms, you run across some shit like that. Don't nobody need to go down there.
I know that's right.
That's that old ham sandwich, the Sam Squatch.
That's right.
Well, man, that'll work.
Yes, sir.
Like I said,
I appreciate y'all getting me on here.
Yes, sir.
I really do.
We'll be hollering at you.
It was great.
And so, you know, like I said, I'd like to get to meet your dad and all that. We'll come see you.
Yeah, and I tried to get him to come and talk, and it was another boy that come over wanting to talk to him. So I was like, well, whatever, you know, I'll just walk away. I mean, you know, but he's old school. I mean, he's, you know, I said something about being on a podcast, and he was like, well, what's that?
You don't need to get on all that shit.
I explained it to him, and he was like, I mean, who cares? Ain't nobody going to listen to it. I said, well, probably not. You know, whenever they hear something about me being on there, they probably won't listen to it. But I mean,
when this comes out by the next day, there'll be people in over 50 countries that'll know who you are.
Golly.
That's a fact. And they're listening right now. Hey, all my Australian buddies out there, the guys from the UK, some of y'all from Japan, them Pakistan guys that's got the hog dogs, y'all message Roper Oswalt. Y'all hit Triple O Hog and let him know that y'all know who he is now. Because they do it. They do it to us all the time.
I mean, it really is. I mean, that's pretty cool that there's people.
It is.
You know, that's out there listening. I mean,
and brother, they listen to every word we say.
Right.
I'm for real. Like they really take in what we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
It shocked me.
No, it's really crazy to think about, no doubt. I mean,
I'll wait till they start calling, and you're like, well, where do you live at? And they're like, oh, I'm in South Wales, or I'm in New Zealand, or I'm in Australia. Mm. I had one guy call me one night from Hong Kong. That was a guy who wanted Airedales a couple of years ago. And then I deal with guys in the UK almost on a daily basis, and Australia, just about on a daily basis.
Yeah, and they got some dogs that I wouldn't mind having some stuff like they got. I mean, that's, you know.
Yeah, they got a different style.
It's a whole different ball game over there.
That's right.
But
Amen.
I mean, still, it's they're running some dogs that I wouldn't mind having some stuff like that. You know, not right now, but I mean, one day. I mean,
That's right.
But
that'll work, man. So just
yes, sir.
Until next time, we'll see you in here in a few weeks, I hope.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna do my best to get down there. I mean, shoot, I think it'd be cool to meet some famous guys. I mean,
Carter and Ryan will be there.
Oh, for sure.
Randy Drill will be there. Uncle Pat. Them dudes will be there.
oh, shoot.
We'll get them signed some autographs for everybody.
There you go.
All right, brother.
Golly. I appreciate y'all.
All right.
Thanks,
We'll see you,
Roper.
Roper. Be good,
All
brother.
right, y'all have a good one.
All right.
Yes,
bye-bye.
Bye.
Sweet. It's cool to have that. That's your age group there. And that goes to show that next generation, they rolling. They putting it out there. That's all I need to see. That made my heart feel good. Ain't no doubt. I didn't know Roper was that young. I mean, it's not really that young. It is to me. I mean, I'm twice as old as him, just about. That's pretty cool. Yeah. And so, like I said, I've been watching Triple O Hogging shit for a long time.
It's one of them things where I'm like, in my mind, because I'm 24, it's like 27 at that time. It's like, damn, they're a little old, but I'm like, oh, easy. I can't use that word. I'm kind of close to that
that's
age.
It.
Oh, man.
Well, I got to let my vocals rest. It is about done. Thank y'all so much for your support. Thank y'all for everything you're doing. We got our Patreon up going. If y'all need, we'll post the link and stuff on the Dixie Dogger Podcast Facebook pages or social media pages. Yeah. And y'all can get on the Patreon account now and subscribe to that and join up. And it'll give you a little better videos of stuff. And we're still uploading stuff. So there's not tons of stuff on there right now, but there's a good bit.
Yeah, I'm trying to
there's 30, 40 posts already on it. So y'all go check it out. We got some videos and all kind of pictures and stuff about stuff like our personal lives that we don't get to share as much of, and a little bit more in-depth stuff as far as dogs and the hunts and the people that we take hunting. Instead of just saying we had some guys from Tennessee or whatever, it's who they are, what we done, and all that. So y'all keep rolling. Y'all make sure y'all check out. Y'all listen to our ads in this and the sponsors that we have and the advertisements, and y'all go do business with those people because I said so. Thank y'all so much. And until the next time, we love y'all. Bye.
Thank you. Hope you enjoyed that episode. If there's anything or anyone you'd like to hear on the podcast, or if you'd like to come hunt with us, don't hesitate to contact us at dixiedoggers01@gmail.com.